Let me explain to you, because we were discussing the Upanishad, right? And we were referring to some Upanishads and so on. May I also mention that the smallest Upanishad has only 12 slokas, meaning 12 sentences. Not more than that. It's called I'm not explaining that now. That's a whole 5-day satsang to do that. It's called the Mandukya Upanishad. There's only 12 verses. It doesn't tell you what to do, what not to do, this, that. It just explains the states of consciousness which are common to all human beings, and one state which is common but not realized by most human beings. The Mandukya. So you could check up on the Mandukya Upanishad. Very important part. Okay. Having said that, what is the Upanishad? First, the Upanishad is the earliest record of the wisdom teachings of the Vedas. And to be fair to you, what the Upanishad is, it's the last part of the Vedas. When I say last part, it means it's part of the Vedas, it's not separate from the Vedas. The Vedas have 4 portions, 4 parts. One is the Samhita, which are the mantras and the chants of the Vedas. Veda means to learn, to understand, to study. And at one time, there were the wisdom received by the rishis in a high state of consciousness. It was U.S.A. who kind of brought them together and listed them and made the 4 Vedas. Before that, it was just whatever the rishis got in their higher state of consciousness, what they heard in the higher state of consciousness. Therefore, it's called Shruti, because it was that which was heard by them. Either in a high state of consciousness or from those who came from other spheres and taught, whichever way you want to put it. So, they still come sometimes, but we are all close to it, so we don't know to teach. So, these are the Vedas. So, the first part is called the Samhita. The Gayatri mantra is part of the Samhita Rig Veda, 124th mandala probably, and the Rishi, the one who found it in Gayatri, in the case of Gayatri, is Vishwamitra. So there are many Rishis mentioned who got the whole Samhita portion together. After the Samhita comes one section of the Veda, again Veda, not out of the Vedas, called the Brahmanas. Now the Brahmanas are those parts of the Vedas which talk about the ceremonials. What are the things to be done in daily life? When you get married, what is to be done? When you are meditating, what are the ceremonies to be followed? When death takes place, what happens, and so on and so forth. The ceremonial part. Then they have a relevance up to a certain point, of course. Maybe in the present context, many of them have lost their significance, but they are there. The next part is what are called Aranyakas. Now, the word Aranyaka comes from Aranya, which means the forest. Well, you can say this is like a forest. Aranya. So, what you study here are the Aranyakas, okay? And then the rishis laid great importance to the place where this study has to be done. It had to be a forest hermitage, a forest academy, lot of fresh air, not much disturbance, no traffic, and no Wi-Fi. So anyway, now this is the forest. So those parts of the Vedas which were studied, which went into the deeper aspects, were called the Aranyakas. Okay. Now then what are the Upanishads? Those Aranyakas which were studied and which form the last part of the Vedas are the Upanishads. So many of the Upanishads are Aranyakas. They're not so different. Okay. So these are the Upanishads. Therefore, every Veda has some Upanishads at the end. And these are the texts that explain to you the deep meaning of what the Samhita, Brahmanas and other parts explain about. Now, the Vedas per se have 4 important sentences which are called Mahavakyas. When you say Mahavakyas, it means great words, that's what it means, great words, or holy words, or sacred words, let's say. Sacred words. So, these are the 4. And one is Tat Tvam Asi. Tat is just a modification of that. You take H out and you have Tat. Tat, that, Tvam, you, Asi, are. You are that. It's one of the Mahavakyas of the Vedas, Tat Tvam Asi, which means you are that, which means you are not this. You are not this conditioned being that you think you are. But you are part of that, or rather that unconditioned supreme truth, Brahman, that. Tat Tvam Asi, which cannot be explained, which cannot be defined, but which can be found when all finding ceases. Am I talking in mysteries? No. Something which is touched when all attempting to grasp ceases. No, I want to say something which is very interesting. It's not as if we have that tat only in the Indian system of thought. One of the most ancient systems of spiritual and religious thought and philosophy has been the Jewish system in the world, one of the oldest. If you remember, any of you, if you have read, it's not a fashion to read now these things, but if you have, Moses walks into a mountain. So there in the Torah, the Old Testament, who walks into the mountain, and there he is about to climb the mountain when he hears a voice which says, "Take off your shoes." We have all taken off our shoes, right? So take off your shoes. You are entering a sacred place. So he takes off his shoes. He's not accustomed to, so he takes off his shoes. And he enters. And he sees a fire under the bush. They described as a fire behind the bush, but I think he saw some light there. And he is completely stunned. And he asks, "Who are you? Or what is you? What is it?" And the answer is very interesting. It sounds like Tat Tvam Asi, but in a different way. The Hebrew sentence for that is Ahye Asher Ahye, which means I am that I am. There is no other descriptions possible. So I am that I am. More deeper explanation of the tetragrammaton. So this is Tat, so you are that. One of the Mahavakyas. So the Upanishads and the Aranyakas go about explaining this. What does it mean? I am that. Because I think I am this. The second, which we discussed, of course, in the morning, that. The second Mahavakya is, I am Atma Brahma. My Atman is Brahman. That means my inner self, my consciousness, the observer that is within me, is not different from the Supreme Brahman. I am Atma Brahma. Mahavakyas from the Vedas, 2. And the third is Prajnanam Brahma. That means I am of the nature of consciousness. The Brahman is of the nature of consciousness, not me. Me has already been established, I am not different. Prajnanam Brahma, the Supreme Being, the Brahman, which the word Brahman is derived from the Sanskrit root Bri, which means ever expanding, no limitations. I am Prajnanam Brahma. And the last Mahavakya, very dangerous if you don't understand what you are saying. It can fill you with a great deal of ego. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Now, it's premature to say that until you know what you're saying. Otherwise you might be filled with too much ego. I am Brahman. You'll soon find out when somebody abuses you that you're not the Brahman. But right? When Brahman is not moved by praise or blame. Okay. So these are the 4 Mahavakyas. And the Aranyakas and the Upanishads make a good job of trying to explain what it means. So, these are the last sections of the Vedas called the Upanishads. They're also the meaning of the word Vedanta, because Anta in Sanskrit means the end, which means the end portion of the Vedas, Vedanta. It could also mean that when that is understood, everything is understood, there is no need to learn anything more, and therefore end of all learning. This is also possible. Shankara said so, I don't know. So, this is Upanishad. So what does it actually mean in this context? It means, let's split the word and see what it means. Upa. Upa is the word, many of you must have heard of Upavasa. I am fasting today, I am doing Upavasa. Upavasa means moving closer, traveling closer. So, Upa means to move closer, to go closer to the truth. They can only say closer, because when you reach there, you're not there, only the truth is there. So, move closer. It also means that which was taught by the teacher, sitting in close proximity to the student. Not advertised loudly, but so therefore it was also called the secret, the rahasya, because it low tones. The teacher described it to the student, who after all the preparations necessary grasped it. It would be also useless to tell it to somebody who is not ready for it, and could also be misutilized. Because you're dealing with 100 megaton bomb, and you can't give it to someone who doesn't know how to use it, doesn't have the moral boundaries. Right? So it was given to those who, they're called apta, one who was qualified to receive it. And at close quarters, and therefore it was called upa, close. Then, nishad. Ni is the word that indicates in Sanskrit the relationship between two, speaker and the listener, or the teacher and the taught. It means the one who is taught is ready to say that I don't know, and be ready to receive what is coming from. In the word niche is derived from ni, down. Now physically we are okay here, you're down and I'm up. It doesn't mean that actually. It means that I say that I'm empty to receive. You can't receive anything if you're full, right? Even in an ordinary vessel, if you need to fill it with something, you need to keep it down. Can you fill it this way? Unless it's frozen, So, that's the attitude of the teacher and the taught, that I am ready to receive. I have set apart all my prejudices. I am open to understanding. Therefore, my vessel is empty. And therefore, there is space to receive. The brain is filled with so much muck that very often it's difficult to receive. And one of the mucks is comparison. So-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. So one is not listening, one is comparing. 50% of the mind is comparing. So, then Shad, Upanishad. Shad means to sit. Sit down. Not only physically, but that your mind also has sat down. Now you can sit here, but the mind can be walking around, especially at dinner time. So sit. When the mind is fully there, completely sitting. Shad. Shankara also in his commentary said, Shad could also mean to shake up. He said shake up from the sleep of ignorance. It would also mean shake up from the favorite theories that we hold, from the ideas that we have in our mind. They undergo a thorough shake-up. The world is put head down and feet up in Jirsasana. What you thought most important becomes least important. What you thought was least important becomes most. So it's like a churning. It's a shaking up of the crystallized theories that hold us in limitations. To break that up, to shake it up. If you know that you don't need me really, if you shake that up. Study the Upanishad, you are on your own. You don't need anybody. The whole idea is to make people understand this and stand on their own feet. You don't need me really. You understand? You don't have to come for another satsang. So, this is the Upanishad. And we discussed some of the Upanishad, the teachings when we came in the morning. We already discussed that. Now, I'm going to go to the discussion of how the practice of any technique or sadhana, especially to do with your breath and so on, is linked to that which is that and not this. So the starting point or the link between this and that. Of course, there is one which is sound, music, but we'll come to that later. Now the yogic anatomy and physiology, very similar to Gray's anatomy, but sometimes a little different, says that in the human body, which is called the pinda, the human body, as opposed to Brahmanda, which is this whole universe. The energy called prana, which is called prana, energy, you can call it energy if you like, circulates through so many channels which are called in yogic terms nadis, throughout the body. Of these innumerable nadis, there are three which are most important to us. The left nadi, the right nadi, and the central nadi. Which is, I'm saying all this, explaining what is the connection between breathing and then that which is beyond. The idea is for a mind that is still conditioned, it can think or imagine the Supreme, but it cannot really grasp what is being said. So you need to slowly open its different layers. First learn how to interiorize it. And then learn how to enjoy something that's happening within. And then so you are slowly cutting yourself off from enjoying what is outside. And then gradually you begin to go to the root of it and find that it is not different from the universe. So it requires a layered, step-by-step way out. Although some people say that it is instantaneous, it is there or not there, but I wouldn't say that. I think, yes, in the ultimate essence, yes, but we need to prepare to get there. So, the prana that is circulating among the many nadis in a body, the most important nadis being the right, the left and the center. The left nadis are called the Ida nadi. And the right is the Pingala, you don't have to by heart. And the center is the Sushumna. So for all intents and purposes, to lead your life, from ordinary life to even study physics and quantum physics and whatever, you need the prana, the energy, to move only to your left and right nadi. That's all that is required. That's what happens normally. Now the left nadi is called the Ida and the right Pingala. The right nadi represents anode, plus. And the left represents cathode, minus. So this is the anode and this is the cathode. I'm deliberately not using the word negative, positive because it has a different connotation. It's positive in the sense charge is positive, charge is negative. Which a cathode is not lesser than an anode or anything like that. Okay. So these are the two nadis. So where are they located in the system? The Pingala nadi starts from the left side of the brain, and then it comes this way, crosses inside the head, not here but inside, and comes down the right side. And the Ida nadi starts here, cuts across, crosses here and comes down to the left side. So this is the Ida and this is the Pingala. At the bottom of the spine they meet together. The meeting point is where the spine ends. And that is called the Mooladhara, the meeting point. Moola, root. Adhara, foundation or place. This is the Mooladhara. Now, for most people, for all the things that we do, it's enough if the prana is on the left or right, and the yogi knows how to adjust the prana so that it's more on the left or more on the right, depending upon what action he is doing and how successful he needs to be. Some of the activities that we do, if they are done when the Ida nadi, the left one, is functioning, may not work well. Some action that you do when the right nadi is working may be successful. So it depends. Yogi, but that's not the aim of the yogi. Now, if you want to take your mind to the spiritual world or the subtle world, or that which is beyond ordinary life, then this prana has to be made to move up the central channel which is inside the spine and which is called the Sushumna. If you look at Gray's anatomy, you will find that the brain and the spine, which has the spinal cord, which is a continuation of the brain matter, is called the central nervous system. And on your left and the right is the ganglionic chain and the vagus nerve and so on, which takes care of your lungs, your heart and various other functions. The parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems which receive messages from the brain and also send back responses, they are on both sides. This you can see. But when we are talking, we are not talking exactly about those physical nerve systems. We are talking about the psychic part of these nerve systems. Energy channels rather, but physically also they are represented. So what the yogi is attempting to do is to bring the prana from the Ida and the Pingala, which is the left and the right, which is already touching in the Muladhara, and through various means and through proper diet and exercise and getting rid of hatred and things like that, which form the muck that closes your Sushumna Nadi. The yogi is trying to spark the cathode and anode and take that spark up through the Sushumna. It will move in fast or slow depending upon how open the Sushumna is. And for that you need to practice some laws of self-control and emotions and so on before it becomes clear. Because you are carrying muck probably even from your past birth and even from your past in this life. So you need to clear it. One of the functions of sadhana is to first clear the muck and make the Sushumna habitable and easy to travel for the energy when it goes up. Many of these complications in this kind of practices come because prematurely the movement of energy happens but the channels are closed and therefore there are different reactions. So first step is to clean the channels. Here are a few things that can block the channels. Alcohol. Anybody smiling? Drugs. We intend to open the channel and activate the energies without any external chemical reaction, including the mushroom. We have our own mushrooms inside, you don't need anything from outside. Actually, a yogi who is experiencing the awakening of the energy through the spine is already fully drunk. He doesn't need alcohol. Taking alcohol or any such stimulant is a mere imitation of this. Because the central nervous system is paralyzed, so you feel good for some time. The next day, so this is the whole anatomy and physiology of the nervous system and the channels according to yoga. If you need to find details of this nadis and so on, you can go through a couple of books because we can't finish the whole thing here. One is the general description of Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Now, when I say Hatha Yoga Pradipika, don't react saying, oh, this Hatha Yoga is only to do with the physical, Raja Yoga is a... No. Hatha Yoga actually means, although it lays stress on asanas and pranayam, it simply means the balancing of the cathode and the anode. You know, the left side is called Tha. Tha is the sound used for the moon, cool energy. And Ha is the sound used for the sun energy, positive energy, plus energy, fire energy. So, the technique or the method or the theory that teaches you how to handle the Tha and the Ha, the moon and the sun energies, is called Hatha Yoga. It has got some connotation like that. Oh, it's a lower form. Nothing like that. But everybody need not practice asanas. Not necessary, but well, it's good. The other text you can read on these matters is the Shiva Samhita, which gives you a good description of these channels. in the text called the Garanda Samhita. And there is a beautiful English translation done in, I think, 1800s, late 1800s, by a retired judge of the Calcutta High Court, an English, British gentleman by name Sir John Woodrow, who wrote under the pen name of Author Avalon. One of the best descriptions of this sentence, but boring in the beginning because he goes into so many things. Not boring really, but for you it might appear boring. It's called The Serpent Power, the Author Avalon. And it's a real good study of a very good textbook on the centers and the nadis by a great yogi called Purnananda. He wrote something called the Shat Chakra Nirupana, understanding of the 6 chakras, not including this, which is the 7th. And it's also, he has derived some information from a very short text on Tantra, Yoga Tantras, called the Paduka Panchakam. So you can, want details, you can read. Don't get lost in all those details. What we discussed today is sufficient for the practice, that there are 2 left and right side, Ida Pingala, and there is a central nadi called Sushumna. And as the human mind ascends to higher levels of understanding and higher levels of intuition and higher levels of spiritual ascendancy, it goes through the central channel called the Sushumna to the several centers which are placed on it. And as the mind ascends, it becomes more and more multidimensional, more than the 3 dimensions that we know of in this world. Now they're trying to say, if you have to break through the ordinary so-called limited logic, you need to ascend and look at things from a higher point of view. And ascending of the energy to the Sushumna, exactly what happens. But then there are people ask, what happens to people who don't do this kind of Kundalini? Don't they get enlightened? Yes, they do. They may not be aware of it, but the energy is already active. We may not be, like the yogi does go from the Muladhara to the Sahasrara. It can awaken in any center simultaneously, without touching any other center. So you have people for whom the heart center is awakened and the rest are dormant. They are the people who are highly emotionally devotional. They may not realize it, but they feel the joy here and they know that something is happening which is out of the ordinary. But for the yogi, the path is a step-by-step movement systematically from the Muladhara to the Sahasrara. And the energy passes through the heart center, through the navel center, through various centers. And as you go up, as you ascend, you begin to see how your mind opens up to realities which cannot be sensed by your 5 senses. Until you reach the higher stage. Not only that, it's accompanied by feelings of bliss and happiness, so that you learn how to enjoy something that is within until you go beyond. Because the mind does not like to stay in a vacuum. It likes to hold on to something. So the only way to detach it from the outside, even momentarily, is to attach it to something inside. And this is the whole process. So this is the anatomy and physiology, roughly. I'm not going into, if you go into the details, there are several texts that describe 6 nadis coming out from 7 going there. You don't have to, this is all there is to know. So, when you practice Kriya, this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to bring the energy from the Ida and the Pingala down to the bottom, to the Muladhara, where they meet. And then from there, the spark that happens when they rub against each other is made to rise up through the Sushumna and come to the Sahasrara. Now, a couple of things which we need to know. Because when you go afterwards and read the other texts, you might find some puzzles to be solved. Why is it that certain diagrams are given for the different centers? Also, each center is represented by a principle called the Tattva. Now, this Tattva is a word derived from Sankhya, the ancient philosophies, darshanas of Kapila. Now, the lowest center, the Muladhara, is represented by a square. Chadushram, it's a square. Now, the square is put there as a symbol because it represents this world that we live in, the solid world. The three-dimensional solid world, actually it's a cube, but two-dimensionally a square. And this is the Prakriti, the solid world you live in. So, the energy, which in the Tantras, please, Tantra has become a bad word, I'm not talking about that Tantra. No, in the Tantra, the idea is that the supreme energy, who is no different from Shivam, the source, when everything is at rest, even before creation, and even in the mind, that state is called Shivam. When there is activity, Shakti. Tantra says that without Shakti, Shiva is a Shava, corpse. No activity. When activity takes place, energy is always feminine in the Vedas and the Tantras. Now, therefore, that energy, which has created the human being, from the womb to the person we are now, after having done its work of physical creativity, rests in the Muladhara, the bottom of the spine, still with all the energy intact. Energy is not wasted. Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vasishyate, it remains always complete. Doesn't reduce because of all the work done. But it has created a new human being, physical. And after that, it rests there. Human being is out, it rests there. In all human beings, male or female, all nationalities, all races, it rests in the Muladhara in a coiled up sleeping form. What the yogi does is to wake her up. If you're too harsh, she may behave harshly with you, gently. So when this energy is inside us, it's the same energy that has created this human being. It's the same energy which operates in libido. It's the same energy which operates when you're sexually aroused. It's the same energy which operates when you have great desire for something. The pinpoint of that energy, the Shakti who resides in the Muladhara, the Devi. People do various pujas to make the Devi happy. She's sitting right here. So, and when she is resting in the lowest center, that center is represented by a square because of the solid earth that we live in. She's in that mode now. And the next center is represented by the tattva of water, apas. We won't tell you exactly what centers, because we have an evening session. I'm not letting the cat out of the bag so early. So, the next center is a water element, which means from the physical to something which is subtler, liquid. Doesn't mean exactly water, it's liquid. And then from there to the next step, if the liquid has to become vapor, you need more heat. So you come to the third center, which represents fire, Agni. And then from there it comes to the next, which is air, gas, gaseous state, Vayu. And then from there it comes to the throat, which is called Akasha, Vishuddhi. Now, Akasha means, normally we refer to the sky as Akash, but actually Akasha is the primordial matter from which the rest of all these modifications have come. The source of all the modifications and primordial matter is Akasha. And beyond that is the Ajna and the Sahasrara, which cannot be described in human terms. So actually the Shakti, after leaving her poor Shiva alone here, descended down and is hiding here down in Muladhara. So the movement of Kriya or Kundalini Yoga, as we call it, is the great romance of taking her back to Shiva. This is why all this Tantra is has got a bad name because of all, but it's not true, really. Now, to raise this energy from the gross to the subtle, and to go up, is also raising your awareness from gross to subtle and subtler and subtler. So this movement is called Kriya. The method by which we do this is called Kriya. The other thing is, all this is linked very intimately with your breath. And therefore there is a bit of breath manipulation in this. That with your breath you can connect the prana and you can raise your awareness from the lower to the higher. So when the Devi reaches the Sahasrara, which is a culmination of the yogi's journey, and he has walked the straight and narrow path and reached here, then the Shiva and the Shakti element, the cathode and anode, they unite, and there is only the bliss of being. The yogi touches that, like Shankara, he sings, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am of the nature of bliss and consciousness, I am Shivam, I am Shivam. So, this is the journey. So what we are going to learn in Kriya, how to link the breath to this and how to start this process. There are also sounds called Bijaksharas, about which I will go into because in 5 minutes I cannot complete it. We'll do that in the evening session and prepare the foundation for you to learn Kriya tomorrow. Don't you think it was necessary to spend this much time to the background to it? Because otherwise you'll just be breathing in and out. Also always remember that the aim, the goal is more important than the technique. And the teaching is more important than the teacher. Keep this in mind. We have 2 more minutes. Any short question we can answer and move forward. Yes, sir? No need, I can hear it. Oh, you want to record it? They want to record it. Okay? Nothing obscene, I hope. Huh? No, he's a sensible man. Okay.
So you mentioned drugs. So that got me thinking. One of my friends does ayahuasca.
I know. That's what
So
I said.
how do I compare that to Kriya?
You can't.
She will tell you that she has experiences.
They're merely psychological experiences, which from our standpoint are hallucinations.
Okay.
They are called hallucinatory drugs, for your information.
But so if she were to tell me that she speaks to people, beings or parents or ancestors.
You can find many patients in mental hospitals who speak to...
How do I tell her that?
You can't. As far as you follow the yogic path, we should not indulge in any of these things. It may take longer. Look, having said that to you, I must say that perhaps she is hearing somebody really. Could be possible. But she has no control over it, you see. And afterwards it will end in disaster. So therefore we go at it carefully without getting caught up in chemical substances as much. The soma juice is not a physical affair. It's something to do with your inner being.
So I have one crazy question. So you are going to teach us the Kriya Yoga and we are going to start it. And
Why do you say it's a crazy question?
No. I'm just saying like maybe I'm a beginner. I don't know a lot about it. So, so let's say that we start this Kriya Yoga practice and then like I am right now nearing 40. I don't know how long I'm going to live. So I do this Kriya. Let's say that the Kundalini Yoga, like Kundalini rises and then it goes.
Are you sure it will rise?
I don't know. That's why a crazy question.
Okay.
So let's say that it rises and then it goes through. There are 7 chakras. Let's say that it goes to 1, 2, 3 and the body suddenly dies.
Dies?
Yeah, that's why it's crazy, right? So, so
here I am alive.
Yes. So I won't be alive. That's why this question is. So what happens actually? So as per like I have been reading some books and stuff. Like they say that the body dies, but the soul descends.
See, this is a wrong impression.
Sure.
It's a wrong information.
Okay.
The body doesn't die. Probably what the yogi means by the body dies is that his sense organs become suspended for a while.
Okay.
It's not death in the sense that there is no consciousness.
Yes.
So dying, everybody will die. I mean,
Yes.
I will die, you will.
Yes.
That's not the question.
Okay.
Why the practice of this, whatever, I don't know what practice you're talking about, that one dies simply means you die to the world.
Yes.
In the sense that you are more in your inner world than the outside. That's what it means. Not as if the body dies.
Okay.
Certainly not.
Okay.
Oh, then it will be dangerous to teach any of this.
Yes.
I wish it was possible because some people really want to die.
Yes.
They would come to me and say, teach me Kriya Yoga.
Yes. So let's say that this is my first practice actually. I haven't done anything before.
I'm very glad this is your first.
Yes.
I'm so glad. I'm not joking.
Sure. Thank you.
People come with so much luggage,
Yes.
It's first difficult to remove that luggage before you put anything in.
Yes, definitely. So, like I say, like...
You will be very much alive, I'm telling you. Look at me.
So, like one thing is like if we get a next birth or something, is this process going to continue over there?
100%.
Okay. Without any loss, like let's say that...
No loss.
Okay.
If you read the Gita, Arjuna asked Krishna precisely this question.
Okay.
He says, look, I am not What's your name?
Gokul.
Not Arjun.
Okay.
So, check. He says, I'm asking you this question.
Yes.
Krishna says, when you meditate, your mind should be as steady as a flame when there is no wind. Okay? So Arjuna says, just a moment. I mean, he doesn't use these words.
Yes.
He says, just a moment. I can't do that. My mind is so turbulent. You would have rather asked me to control the wind. It would have been possible. My mind, I can't. So what happens to people like me? Same question.
Yes.
I can't reach there because I can't control my mind. And because I've been attempting to do that, I've lost this world.
Okay.
Where do people like me go?
Yes.
So Krishna says the same question. He says, you don't lose your bank balance. Okay. Whatever you have gathered remains. You don't have to start from square one.
Okay.
No. You start off where you left.
Okay.
And he also says that this is, you can say it's speculation, but I believe it.
Okay.
He says that such people are born under such circumstances next time that from the beginning they get into the path. Okay. And he gives two examples. He says either they are born in very wealthy families so that they experience everything in life and get fed up, like the Buddha.
Okay.
Or they are born in such wise and families who have investigated into the truth. Okay. So that from childhood they are exposed to the teaching and they gain this.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
So either way.
Yes. And one more question, just I read
Yeah,
your...
good thing you asked me.
Yes.
Look, questions are welcome.
Yes.
Okay. Questions.
So,
how do you know?
Yes.
What do you know?
Okay. So one more question is, I read your book, Apprentice to a Himalayan Master.
Oh, you did?
Yes, yeah. I did my preparation before I came to this
my God.
session, yes. So in one of the chapter you said like compassion is more important, like it's even if you meditate for like 13 years, 24 hours, it's of no use unless you have compassion.
But let me tell you,
yes,
if you don't have a heart,
yes,
you cannot meditate for 20 hours.
Okay. Yes.
If it's merely an intellectual thing, it
Yes.
will not work.
Yes.
It's only when there is love and compassion and care for the other human being that you're even able to sit down and meditate.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
So what I meant was, even if you sit 10 hours a day, there are many people who close their eyes and nothing is happening. Right? But if you are not kind, which means nothing is happening.
Yes.
Because if something is happening, when you get up from there, you are a changed person. You're not the same person again.
Yes. Okay. So to continue the question, like yeah, I have so many questions. I cannot ask everything today.
I think he has. I think we should
Sure. Okay.
give him a chance.
Okay, definitely. Yes.
He's also an old friend.
Definitely. Sure.
Sir, book that you mentioned, Hatha Yoga, Pradipika and some other, will you mention which author? Because there may be many we find in Amazon, so...
There is one book which I would recommend if you want to read it. I'm not saying you should read it, but if you want to read the Yoga Pradipika, so sometimes it's called Yoga Pradipika, not even Hatha Yoga Pradipika. So there is one good translation by one Mr. Garote. It's available on Amazon. So I don't know who are the publishers, but I know that it's available. Mr. G.S. Garote or somebody, the Maharashtrian person. I have gone through his translation and it's very nice. In fact, in our yoga center, training center in India, in Madanapalli, where we teach teachers, we train teachers for asanas and pranayama, yoga. So there I have prescribed this as a text, so they can study it.
Are you planning any trip for Kailash in the future?
It's nothing to do with the satsang, right? But I don't know. The government of India is making a new road through Pitroghat, and I am hoping, given that Mr. Gadkari does a fine, fast job, that we will, highway minister, we will probably be able to finish that road in maybe a year or so, or a year and a half. If that happens, then maybe I should plan a trip. I'm not sure, because it's a long time since we went to Kailash. So maybe it will take only 3 days if you go on that road. But you should stay in the night and go, because you have to acclimatize yourself, because there is no oxygen up there. I mean, very less oxygen. But maybe after the road comes, then we'll think about it. Yes, sir. Ask me a small question.
So it's actually a follow-up on what the gentleman asked. So if you do attain, or if you do not attain the highest reality, how does that impact the relationship of the guru and the disciple? And how forgiving is the guru to the transgressions of the disciple?
I knew you were going to ask me this.
I knew you knew.
I knew. I know how the mind works. Please sit down, sir. Well, let me tell you, you're a gone case now, lost. I'm going to haunt you till the end of the earth. You're not going to get out of this. Thank you.